What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Career Mode. It is episode number 17. We are back. It is time for a brand new season as our third year in Ski gets underway, going to the Premier League on the back of back-to-back promotions putting in Ipswich Town, heading into the third season, and our first back in the top tier. We've got a starting budget of 33 million, which is about what I was expecting, to be fair. Somewhere around 25 to 40. So, yeah, slightly on the lower end of that. But, yeah, 32.5 mil of wage budget considerations. Maybe more like 29.5 to 30. But, yeah, I'd say that's realistic and fair. And so, as we head into the new season and we take a look at our team, unlike last season, we won't be giving a freebie. As we've got a little bit more depth for this year. Although, of course, most of the depth are just young players who don't really have much ability or potential, we would assume. So, yeah, looking at the first 11, there's no doubt about it. That 33 mil is going to need to be invested ASAP because we're not that bad in the first 11. I mean, you got Bukhari, who won the assist title last year in the Championship, was the Challenger Player of the Year. You've got the two young English fullbacks, Bond and Dennis Shirkin, who are both 75 overall. Then you've got Lobato on the wing at 74. You got Binden, who's just getting better at 72. Femi again, 75 rating on the wing. In terms of the first 11, it's good. But in terms of the bench and the resis, it's bad. So, yeah, the first 11's good, but outside of that, we've got some problems. And as I always say, you got to remember that, get in. Bennett has had a potential upgrade. We said that needed to happen. We needed dynamic potential to kick in, and it has, up to showing great potential for last year's Golden Glove winner. Would we have quicker growth on goalkeeper or balance? No, that's annoying. It's because the positioning is just so low. But yeah, so he's had an upgrade. But as I often say, also you got to remember that the team you have at the start of a season, when it's a young team, I should say, as Binden's had a potential upgrade as well, now up to exciting prospect. You love to see it. Club captain, I'll definitely give him a new deal, even though he's still got a couple years remaining. Wow, 5 years. Oh my god, but the wage needs to be improved. Haynes also has a potential upgrade as well, so he'll get a new contract as well with the exciting prospect tag as well. And what about Reggie? Oh, yeah, potential to be special. You love to see it as a potential upgrade to hand it out, and deservedly so for the Reading youngsters. Right, can I finish my monologue now? So when you're doing an RTG and you've got a young team, you've got to remember that the team you've got at the start of the season isn't going to be as good as the team you got at the end of the season, because when it's a young team full of players that are in their teens or their early 20s, they're just going to get better as the season goes on, as they're going to grow nicely as well. So remember last season, as Mentis come back with the exciting prospect tag as well, we'll add him to the loan list. You've got to remember last season we started off with a terrible team in the Championship. We were statistically the worst, and then we ended up becoming statistically one of the top 6. So yeah, it's always going to get better during a year when you've got a young team and you're working with, for the most part, a bunch of kids. So in terms of players and deals coming at the end of the year, 4 players out of contract, and the top 3 are going to get new deals, but Ben Elliott is definitely going to go. In fact, you know what, with Lewis Wing, I'm not sure. I mean, he's like the heartbeat of our team, really like him through the middle, but now 30... That's a tough decision, that. Well, Nibs and Bukhari for sure. Last 2 player of the seasons in the last 2 years. Nibs in League One and Bukhari in the Championship. Love the pair of them, no doubt. But for Lewis Wing, that's a tough one, that. 30 years old, love him, but got to make tough decisions at top level football. He might have played his final game for Reading after all. I guess we'll think about it. I'm certainly wasting no time with this. First day of the season, let's send our youth scouts out, man. We've got a couple of great players so far. Reggie and Owen both in the first 11. And as we continue to look for good talents around Berkshire, once again, won't specify a type or position, and see what Roman can find in his home nation of England. Speaking of home nations, I might send Zhao to Portugal. I've been asked before, Doxy boy, when you send a scout to their home country, does it give them a boost in terms of what type of players they can find? Honestly, I don't think it does. I've read conflicting reports about this. I've heard some people say it does give them a little boost if they are. Sorry, where am I going here? Oh, sorry, Portugal. I've heard some people say, no, it does give them a little boost if their judgment or experience is 1 star lower, then sending them to their nation of birth gives them a +1 boost. I don't know if there's any science behind that, though. I haven't actually found any difference myself. It's just something I like to do, just for imaginative reasons. But we could look for the next Ronnie, you know. Maybe the next Ronnie from Portugal. Not against it. Not against it. I mean, really. Other than defensive-minded and goalkeeper, this guy could be categorised as all of those types, really. No, we'll keep going for any. Actually, do you know what? No, I will look for an attacker. I'll specify an attacker from Portugal this year and see what João can find. Why not make it a clean sweep of scouts returning back to their home nations? You've got Roman in England, João in Portugal. So, Jack, you found us the best two so far from England. Now it's time to go north of the border and head back home to Scotland and for any type of player you want in your home nation as well. So, we'll do Portugal, Scotland and England as the scouts return home for Season 3. Yeah, someone will have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there is a boost for scouting a country's home nation. I don't think so. I feel Halmer is probably going to go to St. Pauli for a couple of years, but it would be a cool little feature if they could, like, find like one extra player, for example, or something. I don't know, but as JJ is probably going to go to Craiova. I don't personally believe it does. At least I haven't found any difference from my own experience, at least. And Norwich want to take Mensah on loan as well, up to 65 overall now, so we'll delegate that and do a kind of 2 years, so a 1 year there. And we'll try and get these youngsters out. You know, it is so hard for your lower rated youth players to develop quickly enough to make it into your first team at some point in the future in an RTG. But as I mentioned before, the best way I've found at quick growth is through loaning players. So if you've got young players and their overalls aren't the best, I really do believe that's the best strategy. I know it seems a bit counterproductive to loan them out as opposed to starting them, but from what I've found, it does appear that quickest growth happens when you loan players out as opposed to starting. Owen, for example, has grown to 70 since we promoted him in Season 1. Granted, Reggie's up to 75, but I feel as though if we would have loaned him out, he might be a similar ability to Reggie right now. Now, it might only be 5 ratings, but it does make quite a big difference when you're doing an RTG. As we do have a bid for Ben Elliott as well. Like I said, I'm probably going to let him go out of contract come the end of the season. When a player's on such a low weekly wage, it's totally fine to keep them if you'd want, but I'm just going to cash in, got whatever we can, and look to reinvest in the future as the loan deals keep on coming. I mentioned this before, but like for me, I tend not to sign a player unless there's interest in one of my main targets until I've got my house in order first. Make the sales I want to push through, get the players out that I want to loan out, and then as soon as I've done that, then I'll worry about incomings. Get your own house in order first before you think about adding new pieces to it, you know? And there we go. All of our players that we wanted to loan out have now departed, so I'll keep you posted on how they get on. Johnson, Oakley, Wilhelmer, and also Mensah going to Norwich as well. I'll keep you posted on what their growth looks like during the season. And also Ben Elliott has left permanently as well for £580,000. So don't get much money for him, but our budget now, again, around £30 million of wage budget considerations, maybe a little bit more. So we've done the outgoings, now it's time to get players in. So it's very important we're smart with our money for this transfer window of not much to work with, but needing to improve the quality of this team. You know, I would love to bring in Kone from recently relegated Leeds. We will be looking mostly at players that were relegated last season, but if we were to buy him, well, probably can't afford to, and even if we could just about afford to, that would be our entire budget gone. We can't just make one sign, we need multiple for this season. But relegated with Bournemouth, I'm quite keen on this lad, Renato Tapia. Granted, 29 years old, so no spring chicken now. We should be able to get him for close to valuation. Well, you look at his stats here, 6'1", 4-star weak foot, medium-high work rates, and physically, this dude's a beast, man. 84 jumping, 85 stamina, and 86 strength with 81 aggressions and brilliant defensive stats. If we are looking for a long-term success for Lewis Wing, he might only be a year younger, but far better, and won't get downgraded for at least 3 years, I'd say. For close to valuation, I'm bringing him in. Yeah, don't get me wrong, we will need some experience here for a youthful team, but I would prefer younger players. However, beggars can't be choosers with a small transfer budget, and thus, I think this would be a great deal here. If Lewis is to go, or even if he stays, to be fair. I'll tell you what we could do, actually, because I really like Lewis Wing. But I wasn't a big fan of Joe Williams, who we signed last season on a free transfer. So what I might do is to say to Bournemouth, listen, this guy's a championship level player, Joe Williams. He's a championship level player. Why don't you take him? We'll take Renato. Do a little switchy here. and we'll have the Peruvian. They say, yeah, they'll take him, but they want a bit more money. I'm going to stick to my guns now. I'll say £9.25 million, and they say no, so let's try and meet in the middle at 9.5, and I think this would be a really good deal here. Granted, Williams is a year younger, but several ratings lower. Wasn't a fan of him last season, whereas Renato, the Peruvian international, lots of experience at the international level, and great first-team quality. This could be a great bit of business. I'll be honest, I don't really know much about this guy at all, but what I do know is the last time I had a really solid defensive Peruvian player, his name was Carlos Zambrano. Used to be in a West Bromwich Albion career mode. He ended up captaining my West Brom side, and it ended up being one of my best saves ever. Will lightning strike twice here? Well, I guess we'll see. But even so, it's a great piece of business, no doubt about it. Yes, he might be 29, but still got a few more years before he starts to show signs of decline, and some much needed first team quality for our first year in the Premier League. I'm pretty buzzing with this signing, to be fair, considering it was such a small transfer fee. Welcome to the Medeski Stadium, Renato Tapia. And again, look at these stats here. 6'1", the medium-high work rates, the fantastic physicality as well. I would personally say he's better as a centre-half, in my opinion, but with the partnership of Owen and Bindon, the two young talents that are growing nicely, I don't want to disrupt their development. So instead of phasing him back, maybe we'll do that in the future, but for now, we'll keep him in his natural DM spot. And if Lewis Wing is to go, we got a successor lined up instantly, even though he's only a year younger. This guy's got some fantastic stats, man. What a steal. And as a big comes in for that freebie that was given to us last season. Yeah, I'm totally fine letting him go. I didn't think this guy was ever going to become the next big thing out of France, just arriving here to help with the squad depth. So yeah, totally fine selling him for a small transfer fee. I'm not overly concerned about the, as a big comes in for Kanai, but of course keeping him as the backup for Bennett. I'm not overly concerned about the lack of depth here because, you know, last season we were playing 46 games in the Championship, there's 38 in the Premier League, and of course we had the FA Cup and the League Cup to worry about. But, you know, I think we'll be alright. I think we'll be okay. We're not getting injuries at a ridiculous rate. So I would like to bring in like maybe one or two more players for the squad, but don't forget there's also players in the academy. If the worst came to the worst and we did have an injury crisis, there's players here we could just promote from the academy and get them in. And in fact, Felix Bishop is now 16, and I think it might be wise to promote him now, just in case he asks for a pro deal at the end of this season. And to be fair, I mean, we know he's going to have the potential to be special. I have to say, I'm actually not against just throwing this guy into the deep end, to be fair, because he, as we said, exciting prospect. What? Really? I thought he was going to have like 93 potential, but he's certainly one of the best youngsters we've got out of the academy thus far. Would he get enough minutes in this team, or should we loan him out? Yeah, I guess we could put him on the bench for Mukairu, but I quite like Mukairu. He's not really got the pace yet, so yeah, I think personally we should add him to the loan list. 16 years old, I wouldn't say he's ready to make an impact yet, but again, the last thing I wanted to see was him ask for a pro deal at the end of the season, and now his potential sucked out of him. But anyway, one thing I am going to do is check the free agents pool. I can't believe I ain't done that yet. Because so many great players on free agents last season, I haven't even started yet. Let's see what I can find. Well, it's slim pickings for the most part, if I'm being honest. But one player I'm not going to miss out on, as I've started scouting straight away, but not even going to leave his chance, is CJ Egan Riley. Out of the Man City Academy, moved on to Burnley, has now been released by the Clarets following their promotion last season. I'll be honest here, I'm not actually sure just how good he's going to be. Now, when he first burst on the scene, it appeared as though he had some great potential. Would he be the next Rico Lewis? Well, possibly not, but certainly had decent potential. It's safe to say he hasn't really kicked on, but if he wants that important squad role, I'm going to assume he's going to be in the early 70s for overall, and he might still have 80 to 82, 83 potential, and that would be more than good enough for me. So we'll put him on a weekly wage of 10 grand. I'm actually a little bit nervous that might not be enough, to be fair. Yeah, he wants a little bit more, but I don't know how good he's going to be in terms of his overall officially, but I think he should be more than good enough to at least battle Reggie for that starting right back role, if not coming off the bench. Egan Riley coming in. Let's see just how good he is. Yes, it's safe to say he hasn't quite kicked on in his development just yet, but at 22 years old, I mean, come on, his best years are still clearly ahead of him, as he's still such a young man, and hopefully he'll have his best years with Reading as well. Welcome to Medeski Stadium, CJ Egan Riley, and he is about as good as I was expecting. Early 70s, 72 overall, so whilst will be a backup to Reggie Bond. If we can improve his attacking stats and get him a little bit quicker as well, he could certainly give Reggie some competition, even though for the most part, of course, he'll come off the bench. Same with left back, with Dennis. We don't have a backup left back right now. We do in Nesta Guinness-Walker, but no one for the long term who I think could battle Dennis. So CJ could possibly, if we get the weak fit up to 5-star, end up becoming our starting left back, if not a right back. But I think for the most part, he'll be a bench player here. And as we see that freebie, Schneider is now left to Craiova as well. Again, don't really get any money for him, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like it's same with like players you get given to you in the academy. I just don't want them. I want the players that I want to bring in myself, you know. And Fiorentina have just put in a bid for our young American goalkeeper, 2.85 mil, but Golden Glove winner last year in a championship, had that dynamic potential upgrade as well. He's going nowhere. I'm turning down the bids. I'm blocking the offers, and I'm going to give him a new contract and a much better weekly wage as well. This kid, I think for me, is definitely going to be our number one for many years to come. He's like literally last season, even despite his low overall, he made some incredible saves in the second tier. Biggest step up to the Premier League, but I back the kid, man. I really do. And so, as our first scouting updates come in from Portugal, Scotland and England, let's see what we've got from the first month. I very, very, very rarely find someone amazing from the first month. So I always say the first month, it's like the warm-up, you know, it's the introduction to what you might be finding during the season. But it's very rare you find anyone from the first month. So don't worry too much. You start a 9-month mission, first month comes back and there's literally no one of like, you know, amazing ability. It's 1 month of 9. You've got a long, long way to go. So just be patient, trust the process, and you know you're going to get much better players as the year goes on. And Scotland, unfortunately, is not off to a good start. Jack really struggling out of the gate here. So yeah, we look at the academy, given Bishop the pro deal, I'll probably loan him out. I think with that being the case, we'll most likely need to do the same with Chinedu Davis and also Nicholas Johnson, this young American goalkeeper. But again, when you look at the low overall there, I might just release him. I mean, Aaron Bennett is the true American goalkeeper who's going to be our number one for years to come. So I think I'm just going to release him, to be fair. And what I'll do is I'll give Davis a pro deal. The other two are 15, so they can't be promoted yet anyway. Quite keen on Anderson there, the other Icelandic Anderson out on loan, of course. But Davis, I think, will have exciting prospect, and he does indeed. So, like Mensah, good young Ghanaian playmaker, and we'll get him loaned out as well. Where's Bishop? If I had him to the loan list, yeah, I haven't. I'll do that now real quick. But again, this is why I do believe loaning is better. Anderson, since going out on loan to St. Pauli, he's already had that overall spike that players sometimes get when they leave on loan. He's got up 4 already. He's got up 4 ratings, and he might possibly grow 1 or 2 more during the season as well. Now he's had that overall spike. If you keep him, he might only grow 3 for the entire season. Johnson's also grown 3 as well. So I really do believe that EA, well, A, need to work on their growth system, but also B, if you want your young players to develop quicker, get them out on loan. Get them out on loan as soon as possible. And a big coming in for Harvey, Nibs, Palmer. They know the score, man. They know how good this guy is. They say sod the overall rating. No. We know this guy is a baller, man. But of course, signing that contract extension, he's going nowhere. So again, loads and loads of players I have seen that are available on a free. This is the one I really want, Sonny Perkins. But ironically, he's the one that's gone off to Lille. Great young talent, but sadly can't snap him up. This is why you cannot afford to wait if you see a decent player, especially a decent young player, available on a free transfer. So if it comes in for Lewis Wing there, don't leave it to chance, man. Snap him up as soon as possible. Southampton want to take him, still in the second tier, out of contract come the end of the season. I said I don't really want to sell him, but gotta make tough decisions. I think it might be best to let him go to St Mary's. Scored the first goal of the save, a free kick. I think the first time I've ever done that. And scored a free kick last year as well. So you'd think, considering my success ratio of free kicks, it'll be best to keep him. But yeah, I think now we've brought in Tapia coming off the bench. We got Luke 09, who we really like as well, who's almost as good. Out of contract come the end of the season, might just be best to let him go. We get 1.5 mil from the Saints, I will take it. And wow, don't even Really? It was only an extra 150 grand, guys. Seriously? I'm sure there'll be another suitor. I mean, if he wants to stay, he can stay, and it will release him come the end of the season. I mean, he's not on the highest of weekly wages either, so not a big deal if we don't sell him. And more than good enough to come off the bench or possibly start in midweek, so I don't mind too much. So totally fine to keep him. And again, because the money we'd be getting is so low anyway, it really doesn't make much difference. It's not like we're getting like 10 million and he's going to help us sign like a really good player in the future, as the Sky Blues want Felix Bishop. So yeah, if he stays, he stays. If he goes, he goes. I don't mind either way. And as we're about to loan out Chinedu Davis to Suditrol, and I think we'll probably turn down that deal for Felix Bishop next. So I want to keep him in the EFL. I know it doesn't really make a difference, but I want to keep him in the EFL if possible. So we'll turn that one down from Vizela. We should have just had our season ticket money given to us as well. Now there's only a week to go before the window starts. The new Premier League season starts, but it's not really going to be much, if anything, at all. £3.3 million, and added to our budget, 20 million to work with. So there's still quite a bit of money, but again, we still need to make sure we spend the pennies wisely. Can't afford to just sign a player that's not really got that much ability and in the latter stage of his career. We made an exception for Renato Tapia, but for anyone else we bring in, I want it to be good young players that can develop during the season too. And to be fair, looking for those good value for money deals. Well, I've had my eyes on this guy since the very first season, and I remember in my RTG career mode early this year with Swansea, he tore me apart on more than one occasion, and I've got a lot of belief this guy could be a great player in the future. Yasser Asprilla, only 21 years old, but great pace and excellent agility, which is so important when cutting in from the flank. And when you combine that with a 77 ball control and a 77 dribbling as well, this guy is an inside forward, the left foot on the right, could be an absolutely brilliant addition to our team, either starting or coming off the bench for Femi on that right flank. And best part about this, out of contract coming the end of the season, so we can get him for under the valuation as well. And that's always a big tip of mine as well when you're playing career mode. If you're working with a small transfer budget and you want to make sure you spend your pennies wisely, look for players to have their deals that come the end of the year, because that means that 9 times out of 10, not always, but 9 times out of 10, you can get them for under the valuation. So we hold all the cards here. Watford don't want to lose them on a free transfer, so we can get them under the market valuation. We're lowball to begin with, £5 million. They want Femi? Absolutely not. Guys, you got more chance of taking me, Bukhari, and Harvey Nibbs as a trio than you do taking Femi Aziz. This guy is one of my favourite players and going nowhere. So when you look at the tension bar in the top right as well, if it doesn't fill up massively for in the first negotiation, you've got quite a while to work with before a club will pull out. So we'll offer 5.75 mil, continue to lowball here with Yasser out of contract coming the end of the season, 5.75 million, and Watford say, yeah, that could be an absolute steal. Yep, make no mistake about it, we got a player here, a few caps for Colombia already at his early age, balling out for Watford in the Championship, and whilst last year they might have come up short in the playoffs, getting knocked out in the semis, we've now picked him up, so he will go to the Premier League after on for 5.75 million. What a steal this could be for such a great young talent. Welcome to the Medeski Stadium, Yasser Asprilla. Yeah, I've scouted him so many times within so many saves, but never signed him. Now is the perfect time. Again, really like the stats. I do want to get him a bit stronger and most importantly work on that stamina as well. But again, cutting in from that right hand side with the left foot, this guy's a player. This guy is a player. So what we'll do is we'll get in that defensive work rate up to high, because you know that's very important to me. And then once we've got that, we'll get the attacking work rate up to high as well. Whether he comes off the bench or starts, I'm not too sure, but he's a hell of a player, no doubt about that. Wow. And I did not expect this. Leeds putting in a bid for Bukhari, last year's player of the season in the Championship, and whilst I'm not sure what his long-term future is, just signed a new deal of course, so for now he's definitely off limits as he'll be remaining as our number 9. So Bishop and Davies are about to go out on loan. Our first game of the season is at home to Wolves, and I think what we'll do is we'll play that one and end after that as well. So 3 new signs coming in, might make just one more signing for the squad, but as soon as we've done that, we'll play the Wolves game and then we'll end the season opener there. And another bid from a Championship side for one of our regular starters, Charlie Savage, son of Robbie. And again, I don't know what his long-term ceiling is really. Whether he'll hit the heights of his dad, I'm not too sure. Robbie Savage was a pest for the likes of Birmingham City and Blackburn and Derby, but no, I'm keeping Charlie here, man. 22 years old, he's still got a bit more room to grow. And I don't know if he'll always be a starter in this team, but I'd like to keep him for the squad at least. And as we continue to look for players who are recently relegated, I would have loved to have bought in Pascal Struijk from Leeds, sadly not available. And Vandenberg from Middlesbrough would have been perfect as well to compete with Haynes and Binden, sadly snapped up by Leverkusen. But to be fair, I wouldn't be against this lad, Ilya Gruev. 25 years old, defensive midfielder, 6'1", medium-high work rate. So like Tapia, could possibly fill in as a ball-playing defender at CB. That the strength and jumping are both quite low. But as a natural kind of anchor man in this team, I would say we're looking for long-term successes for both Savage and Wing. Well, Tapia is coming on the short term, but this guy, just 25 years old, in his prime right now, will be a brilliant pickup from Leeds, especially with Wing out of contract come the end of the season. And of course, Luke's 30 as well. If we can get him for valuation, this will be a steal. I can't remember the last time I signed a Bulgarian player. Genuinely, I can't think of a time when I picked a Bulgarian player up. So this is going to be the first for me in quite a while, I would say. And again, because of our small budget, got to use our pennies wisely here, so don't want to spend much more than the market valuation if we can help it. So with that being the case, Lewis, if we do pick this guy up, is barely going to feature for us, especially with his contract up again at the end of the season as well. So this would soften the transfer fee, sending him to the Championship where we get more minutes than Adam Rhodes. So what we'll try and do is get it for close to market valuation when you combine Lewis, Wing as well. So if we go at 8.8 mil to begin with, that would be just under the market valuation by 400k. And Leeds don't want Lewis Wing, but they are okay with a close to valuation deal. So that being the case, we'll keep Wing for now. We'll offer, in fact, you know what? Let's go real lowball here, man. We've got to make sure we spend the pennies wisely. 9.75 mil, that's $750,000 lower than valuation. And Leeds say, yeah, even if Wing stays for now, that is still a really good deal there. Man, I must say I am really, really liking the business we are doing in this window. I often do find it is more fun to play transfer windows when you're working with a smaller transfer budget. Nowadays, 30 million isn't going to get you far in modern football, but it means you've got to be better at bargain hunting, if you will. And I'd say all 4 of our new signs for the season have been just that, bargains, including this man, a bargain Bulgarian. Can't remember the last time I signed a player from this nation, but I'm really excited to give him a go for the first time ever. Welcome to the Medeski Stadium, Ilya Gruev. Yeah, really like the stats as well. As a passer of the ball, looks absolutely fantastic, operating deeper with those medium-high work rates as well. 74 stamina and 70 strength. That's not great for one of my DMs, but again, the passing is really, really solid. 81 short pass, 77 long pass, 76 ball control. But again, defensively, really solid as well. And at 25 years old, he's still got plenty of room to go. So I might just leave him on balance and let the stats go gradually, to be fair, as he's already got that high defensive work rate. But yeah, I'm very happy with this guy. He looks like a really good pickup. And so with our budget now dropping down to 2 million, I think we're probably done for new signings, at least for now. So let's jump into the first game of the season. It is Wolves at the Medeski, back in the big time, and no doubt about it, while statistically we'll be one of the weakest sides, I don't think we're that far off a few other teams we'll be competing with for survival, such as Burnley, Sheffield United, Leicester and so on. So yeah, don't count us out, man. Last season we were one of the weakest sides in the division and went all the way to promotion. Can't see us finishing top 4, but hey, you never know. Let's start off with a 3-point style on our return to the Premier League. Gary O'Neill's Wolves on the Medeski. Come on, you Wolves. I think we will defend pretty well this season. I feel quite confident in the back line. Yeah, no change to the back 4 or goalkeeper, but now you've got 2 better DMs covering that back 4 as well. And again, as we mentioned a few times now, don't forget, because we're a younger team, it means that the players are going to grow during the season as well. My big concern is, will we score enough goals? Can we put the ball in the back of the net enough times to survive comfortably and push for a decent finish in our first year in the top tier? That's the question. Can Bukhari do it in the top flight as Matheus Cunha rolls it through, and it's 1-0, but the flag's up for offside. Pedro Neto has it in the back of the net, but it's disallowed. Not a great start. Not a great start, but thankfully saved by the lino. And yeah, I stand by that. I stand by that. I think we'll defend all right this year, but can we score enough? Aziz plays a brilliant ball, and here's our new man, Espria, just wide of the post. Come on, don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it. Come on, don't lose it. Cunha gets away. Oh, I don't believe it, man. Defended brilliantly for the entire game, but how often do I say this? This is what makes the difficulty so much harder to play on. You might need several chances to get a goal. The AI only really need the one. Ball in the back of the net for the second time, but this one's going to count. Matches Cunha with the winner, and we're starting off with the L. Oh, no. Giving that straight away. This could be 2. This could be 2. This will be 2. Smith Rowe with a finish. New boy at Fulham, new boy at Wolves in the save, and that is a harsh welcome back to the top tier. Last time Reading were in the Premier League, they had a solitary season before being relegated straight back down, and then of course dropping all the way to the 3rd tier. Is this foreshadowing? Well, I certainly hope not. Knew it was going to be a tough start to the season, and in the end, a tough, difficult wake-up call to have to start with. That'll do it for today's episode and the season opener of the Summer Career Mode Season 3, guys. So a big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have done, please do drop a like. So you all have a fantastic day, and we'll return in the next one with more games in the Premier League, looking for our first points of the season back in the top flight. 2 million in the budget and 2.5 weeks to go to the window slam shot. I'm not sure we'll do much, and we'll have the League Cup against the Bantams Bradford City as well. Yes, tough return to top flight football for Reading. Have a great day, guys. Much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.